Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Coming in Hot with Caroline. Thank you so much for being here. If I can inspire anyone in any place in this entire world to realize that you're never too old, it's never too late, and that there is every opportunity for you in this world. And I know for me, for a very long time, I don't know if I knew that. And I thought this episode would be extremely important and powerful. It might be hard to hear for some of you because a lot of you are probably not expecting this convo. And you might be like, well, that's not me, or like, that's not really coming, or maybe, fuck, I never thought about that. And that's the kind of topics I love, because at 52, I can honestly tell you my favorite thing to do, I have absolutely no FOMO. I have complete JOMO. I have such joy staying home, like working on myself, working with, just spending time with family. I don't need all of that attention or to have to say I'm doing things to feel important or like, whatever it is. And I know for a time, and I'm going to be honest with you, I really want to discuss the emptiness syndrome, right? I can't tell you how many DMs. I've had such incredible conversations with women over the years. You guys, my DMs blow up, and it's funny because they never blow up for like the fun, sexy topics. They blow up for the unsexiest topics. Like it's menopause, weight gain, body image, normalizing misery, normalizing boredom, normalizing that you're dead after 40 or dead after kids, or that your dreams and your life and your goals cannot be accomplished unless you are at a certain age or a certain time in your life. And I want to be the first person to literally come on here and tell you, I don't believe any of that. I think it is all a crock of shit because I have just lived it. So I'm going to start with me. Going back to literally again, I'm sure you guys have heard this already, and I just want to just give you a little background so you understand why I think the emptiness topic is so important. And I'm not there yet. But the thing is, the difference between me and most is I know it's coming. I have now been made aware that it's coming. I think for a very long time, when you are in the thick of babies and toddlers and those younger years in elementary school and preschool, I personally never thought about graduation. I never thought about, that they're going to leave the house or that I might be left alone, or if I've given up my career, like what do I do after? Never really thought about after. I don't know if I ever sat down. Did you? Like, if you're going to be honest with yourself, did you ever really, even right now, and even all of you incredible mamas out there who are sitting home with babies or little ones or toddlers or multiples, and I don't know, do you think about the end? Like, do you think about when they grow up and leave, like what happens after? And I just don't think anyone does. I think it is a topic that it kind of like ignited a fire when I started talking about it, because it is a real issue. And I have to say, at my age, at 52, I can't even tell you how many of my friends and how many of my mom friends are all about to enter this or have just experienced it in the last couple of years. So like, even I can go back to like my best friend, Monica, like when Valentina, her daughter, left last year, I mean, the amount of conversations, the amount of tears, the amount of like, what am I going to do without her? The amount of like, you've been with somebody 18 years. All you have ever done is worry about them, thinking about them, like wanting to see them happy, breaking your back, your ass, everything to make sure that they have the best of everything. And all of a sudden it's like, bye. Like, I remember I was dropped off at GW, and I swear to God, my parents are like sweating with my suitcases, and all of a sudden like 3 guys from AE Pi, I don't know what fraternity it was, they fucking walked by, invited me to a fraternity party. I was like, hell yes. I was like, bye mom, bye dad, gotta go, I'm fine. And my parents are like, listen, motherfucker. I was like, they just drove 5 hours, carried all my shit, waited in line for 3 hours to move me in. They unpacked all of my shit, and then I kicked them out. I was like, guys, we're done. Goodbye. I have a party to go to. And it's so funny that I think my mom was like, wait, what? I never looked back, you guys. And I don't know if that's everyone. I will have to be honest and say, yes, I had a little bit more difficult home life. My parents, we had everything we ever needed, but we did not have a lot of love and affection. So, the affection and the love and the attention of you actually feeling important and seen wasn't like top of the list. So for me, it was kind of like, I think my parents were kind of quite shocked. They had me home every day. They had me there for so long. My mom had me as the punching bag for 18 years. She had her best friend that she could, put all of her problems on and all of her things on. And for me, I was kind of like, oh my God, I'm free. Like, I'm out of here. Like, I don't have to listen to any more fighting. I don't have to listen to any more shit. Like, I don't have to be, because when you're living at home, ladies, and you're taking money and you're doing that, like, yes, you have to put up with shit, right? That is what happens. Like, nothing is free, not even from your parents. That money that they give you, that credit card that they pay comes with strings attached. I'm not going to lie to you. I did it. I had my parents paying for shit. I was an actress. I was going to acting school. And let me tell you something, there is no way of avoiding their opinion. There just isn't. When they're paying, it's their opinion matters. It just sucks, but that's the way it is. The same way if your husband's the only one making money and paying for everything, why do you think you're going in and asking permission? If it really was that simple of like, what's mine is yours is mine. Why is there any permission being asking? Why are women feeling uncomfortable? Why are they feeling controlled? Like, what is it? So for me, I started to really analyze as I was getting older and had older friends, getting into this business and becoming so fortunate to meet so many incredibly powerful, strong, working women. Let me tell you something. That lights a fire under you when they say your circle matters and the tables you sit at matters, because those conversations really matter, because the conversations is what influences you. That's what stays in your head. So imagine what you're listening to constantly is what you're going to start believing. So whether it's what you're watching, whether it's what you're listening to, listen to Coming in Hot with Caroline. If you're listening to, watching TV a lot, right? If I watch crime shows, I love them. And I'm not going to lie, I have some anxiety after watching it. So you're kind of like, okay, this isn't setting me up for success. Like, if I really need a good night's sleep and I need to be calm for the next day, is watching crime the best idea? Probably not. So one of those things is, as I'm looking and I'm starting to experience and I'm like starting to work, right? You're starting to now see that sitting at home, I started getting antsy, because at the beginning, you cannot see straight. You are a zombie. You are so exhausted. You had no idea you were going to be hit by a train. Nobody prepares you. Nobody helps. And you're basically just have spit on you, poop on you. You don't sleep, and you have mastitis, probably a mustache and melasma and a unibrow. Imagine. And gray hair. I can't. You guys, it's a lot. And I was like, oh, and I have to lose 60 pounds. This should be fun. And the next thing you know, I was pregnant again with my second. So if you think women don't go through a fucking shit show, we do. And it changes you. I've talked about this. It changes you. Your hormones change. Everything changes. All of a sudden, now you've been home. Okay, let's just go back here. Let's be honest, ladies. Okay, let's rip the curtain out. Let's be transparent. Let's actually talk about it. We let ourselves go. Yes. When you gain 60 pounds in a pregnancy, no, not that easy to take it off, especially when you're 40 and 42. It is like that metabolism slows down. Menopause starts to kick in. Like, losing the weight isn't easy. Your hormones are out of whack. You are all over the place, okay? You are not your best self. Then imagine you start getting whatever, and then you have another kid. Let's say some of us have another and another. Okay, so now at this point, what position are you putting yourself in, right? Now you keep becoming responsible for more and more, right? So now you're no longer responsible for yourself. You're responsible for your husband, your home, however many kids you have, whether it's one or it's four, it's a huge responsibility. And I think a lot of us just fall into that trap of giving it all, right? I mean, for me, it was kind of like, I felt like my mom half-assed it. So I felt like definitely the need to give it my all. And I never really thought, what happens after? Okay, so you're going to give your all. You're going to sacrifice it all. You're going to sacrifice your work. You're going to sacrifice your free time. You're going to sacrifice your friends. You're going to sacrifice your own self-worth, motivation, inspiration, goals, dreams. What happens when they graduate? And it's just something I want to be brutally honest with you guys. Like, I can't tell you how many friends are depressed. I can't even tell you how many friends are lost. I can't even tell you how many DMs I get every single fucking day with, how do I get started again? Or what do I do? How do I pivot? How do I change? Can I pick your brain? Can we talk? Like, how can I start a career over? Like, what can I do? I want to make my own money. I don't want to be controlled. Like, I don't know where the money is, or I want to take care of them. I would like, oh my God, my kids left. And like, holy shit, I have 30 or 40 or 50 years. Like, are you really just going to shop and go out to lunch with friends? Like, and I'm telling you, love a good shopping spree, love a good lunch with a glass of wine. But I can promise you that like day after day, year after year, not only will you be in serious credit card debt, but like God knows where that drinking takes you. And God knows where that drinking could maybe lead you. And this is no judgment. I think I've had my wine to take the edge off. I would have a glass of wine every single day. And I realized it was kind of a vicious cycle, right? You got the wine to calm you, but then you need the massive coffee to wake you back up. And then like you're just in this vicious cycle. And I think motherhood can be a very vicious cycle. And I think if you're not asking for help, because of course no one talks about it, and you're not allowed to say you're unhappy, because if you have a nice car and a nice home and a cute husband, apparently you're not allowed to have anything wrong with you. So we've created a society and a situation where moms are probably the most silenced, the most unhappy, I think the most bored, and the most trying to figure out how the fuck they move on after kids. And so if I could be a voice that comes on here and reminds you that you're important too and that you can get your life back, I want to remind you that I did. My kids are in middle school. My kids are not in college. They're not graduated. They're not married. I am attempting to balance it all. And no, it's not easy. I could sit here and tell you I am exhausted, and it is really hard, and not everyone gets all your attention all the time. But I can tell you one thing. I know that in the last couple of years, my relationship with my kids has changed. My relationship with John has changed because I actually feel good in my own skin, and it makes me feel differently. It makes me look at myself differently. It doesn't make me so afraid of the future because I know I can take care of myself. Like I know I still, imagine, right? The kids leave, they graduated, and you never lost the weight, right? Like you don't look like yourself. Like you walk past that mirror when that last kid graduates, gets pretty quiet in the house. All that chaos, all of that running around to sports and running around here and all the shit that we complain about, because we all do it. And I've actually stopped because we're at an age where you're seeing a lot of distress and despair, whether it's children or marriage or, we're dealing with a lot now in your 50s. Now death becomes prevalent. Now you start seeing the hard. You're seeing friends lose children. You're seeing friends lose husbands. You're losing friends. Your marriages are breaking up. Like, it's all la-di-da-da-da. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, life gets hard. And again, no one, I think, prepares for the future. And I think that's the key here, you guys, the empty nest syndrome. And it's a syndrome because I think it's this vicious virus that is going around and no one's talking about it and no one's knowing how to cut the cord on it. And the only way to cut the cord on that is you looking in the mirror and being honest with yourself and figuring out what the fuck you're going to do when your kids leave. And yeah, even if they're 1 and 2, or you just had a baby and you're like, Caroline, calm the fuck down. Like, I haven't even slept in 3 days and I have a baby on my boob. I'm going to be like, yes, enjoy it, enjoy this moment, but it's coming for you too. And if you devote every single aspect of you to your children, you are going to be depleted. You want to know what, depletion is like, that's what I mean. You need to put your oxygen mask on first. Like when you don't have anything left inside, how are you helping everyone else? That's my question. Like, again, you always sacrificing all of you, sacrificing your dreams, your goals, your happiness. Number one, what example are you setting? Because if you're not willing to work for your dreams or willing to go after your dreams, I'm not exactly sure how you're pressuring your kids to do that, right? You can sit there and scream and yell and say you have to be the top athlete, you got to practice, you got to do this, but yet you're not working out, or you're not eating right, or you're not making an effort, or you're not learning something new. Like, you're yelling at your kids to learn piano. Why don't you go learn piano with them? Do you know how to play piano? What the fuck are you doing? I mean, sorry. Like we're all, I see parents who are constantly their kids. I've never seen kids more overwhelmed and in more sports and activities, and parents thinking that they're the next fucking Mark Zuckerberg or the next, LeBron or the next thing. And guess what, kid? Like no one's living their life anymore. And now you're so obsessed with living through your children or trying to make them the best version of themselves that you have completely forgotten about yourself. And then guess what? Your kid is going to become the best version of themselves. They're going to leave and go live their best life. And then what happened? Then you're just stuck at home being the same fucking person. So what did you learn? What did you gain? What did you do for you? Because now you got 50, 40, 60 more years to go. So imagine you've now stopped your life for 18 years. And that's not everyone. Again, always want to preface this with this is not everyone. This is if it speaks to you. This was me. I was somebody who worked. I was somebody who had my own money. I was somebody that was super independent, and motherhood took me down. I had no understanding of the responsibility. I had no understanding how hard it was. And then by the time I did, I was in too deep. And I was starting to, and then at that point, I didn't recognize myself. And at that point, I was like, wait, fuck, where is the money? Or like, what if John walked away? Or what if John got sick? Or what if something happened to the kids? Like, what would happen? What would we do? And so for me, it was like, you got to fucking wake up and you need to start preparing for your life, for the rest of your life. Your life doesn't end when your kids leave. Your life doesn't end when you get married and have kids, right? So at the end of the day, it is a constant reminder that your kids are going to grow up. And if you did your job right, that should not only be something that you're so proud of, but you should want them to go. Because like I mean, listen, I grew up in a household that they did everything to bribe you to stay home. Like, I think the Latinos a little bit, and I love you, my Latinos. It is something that my parents were always kind of bribing us to stay home. Like, they would always be like, oh, we'll get you a car if you just live at home. Or they always wanted to keep that control over you. And I don't ever want that. Like, I don't want to be so bored that like I have to control, like I want my kids to be home. I want them to come home and visit because they want to. I want them to come home and visit because they're dying to hang out with us and bring all their friends or their girlfriends or their wives or their children. Like, I don't want it to be a burden because they feel sorry for mom. Like, I can't even tell you, I have a few friends whose kids literally said like, what's going to happen to you when I leave? Like, imagine your kid having that burden of being worried about what happens to you now because all you've done is obsess on me. Like, and it's been 18 years. And I have friends that say, I don't know what I would do. And I'm like, wait, you had a huge job before. Like, what do you mean you don't know what to do? Or like, you were a lawyer or you were this. Like, you're so fucking smart. What do you mean? You bought the house. You did this. Like, you're running the household. You've raised two incredibly kids. Like, what do you mean you don't know what to do? And you're like, yeah, but who's going to take like somebody who hasn't worked in 18 years? Or like, I don't know how the computer works anymore. Or like, I don't know all these updated things. Or I don't know the technology. And I don't know this. And it's like, should we maybe be learning all this stuff, ladies? Like, should we not be sitting on the sidelines and just, allowing everyone else to take charge and take control and make decisions for us? Like, at the end of the day, are we not our own very smart, capable human beings? And we have brains and we have two hands and you can work. And I want to remind you that the only security you will ever feel is knowing that you can take care of yourself. And if you're depending on your kid to entertain you, or you're depending on your husband to entertain you for the next 30 or 40 or 50 years, that's probably going to end up in divorce, or you're just going to end up really bored and unhappy and probably in debt and maybe just hanging out with the girls drinking. I'm not sure. And that might work for you. That just doesn't work for me. For me, I have realized that the greatest wealth I could possibly have is living my best second half of life. Because I realized, you know what? The first half were a lot of great lessons. It gave me a lot of experience. I fell down a lot. I learned a lot of really hard lessons between friendship, between work, between, relationships, family. I've had to set some incredibly hard, boundaries. And I had to realize that protecting myself and taking care of myself was my number one priority, because I personally want a long life. I personally want to be there for my kids and their grandkids. And I want to be sitting on a porch one day, holding hands with John in a rocking chair with all of our great, grandkids sitting around, just being like, what an incredible life we all had. What incredible experiences we all have. Like, that's what I want to talk about. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, I don't know, like life ended at 40, or like life ended at 50, or I never did anything. I never tried anything, or I never traveled anywhere, or I kind of just sat at home and we just kind of went for lunch at the deli every day. Like that just doesn't suit me. Like for me, I feel like there's so much more to life. I feel like we're all so young, so vibrant, so smart. You are not starting from scratch. You are starting from fucking experience. Like, use that experience, use those hard times, use that sacrifice. I look at my mom, I'm like, she sacrificed all of her happiness, never did anything with it, never took the time to go learn English, go learn computer skills, go open that store, go open that thing. She always wanted to like own a store and be a buyer. And like my mom has always loved fashion and love all of that. And like, never tried anything. She spent till this day just chasing my dad and following my dad and living through my dad, and always felt like she had nothing of her own. Never felt like she had the power to walk away because she couldn't take care of herself, or she didn't know where the money was, or she didn't know how to make money. She is one of the smartest people I know. My mom is so badass. She is tough. She is a hard, like, and she honestly calls herself an idiot and stupid all the time. And I'm like, what is happening? So can we normalize being smart? Like, can we normalize being capable? Can like it be cool to be kind and positive and work your ass off and actually earn it? Like, is there a world where we start waking women up and young girls up and reminding them that you can fucking do this? Like, you don't need a man to do it for you, because then the man is in control. And then when your kids graduate, guess who's still in control? And now you don't have any distractions. Now, because the kids are a real distraction in a marriage. They're a real distraction in life. They're a real distraction in boredom. They're a real distraction in laziness. Because again, when you're home and you always have an excuse. There's always an excuse like, oh, the kids, I got to be here. I got to drive. I've got to do this. Me too. Me too. I was almost late to get here today because the dog walker didn't get here, and the dog and the kids are in school, and yeah, that's real life. We all have a million fucking things to do. But my question is, do you want to be bored for the rest of your life, or do you want to live your best life? That's just my question. It's a choice you make every single day. So wake up every day and decide, I want to be happy. I want to be the best version of me. I know I'm smart. So what am I going to do to prove that? Like, I know I'm capable. What can I do with that? Who can help me? Start talking to your friends. Start hanging out. Start putting it out there. Start manifesting. Like, what is that dream life? Yeah, it might not be what you said at 10. It might not be like, I thought I was the next Julia Roberts. That did not work out, okay? I thought I was getting like Pretty Woman 2. Did not work out. I was like, shit, this is hard. And it is one of those things where like, so what, was I going to give up and die because I didn't become some like famous movie actor? You know what I mean? Like, life changes so, you guys, I'm 52, and what I said at 16, you would die laughing now. And I'm realizing now, like what I even was doing at 20 and 30, where I thought I was successful and I was working and I was doing great, then motherhood took over. And then I did nothing. And then I was like, I felt completely lost. I did not even recognize myself, and I thought my life was over. Now I'm sitting here 6 years later after that complete and utter meltdown, and I'm like, I have the entire world in front of me. Can't stop. I can't even think. I can't even stop thinking about work and opportunities. I have never had more energy. I have never been more pumped. I have never been more motivated or inspired. I feel my fucking best. I feel like I look great. I love getting up and getting dressed. I feel like I actually respect myself and admire myself. I actually look in the mirror and say, I'm proud of what I've built. I am proud of the person I see. And if I'm going to look at the mirror every day and wonder who the superhero is that's coming to save me, I know that's what I want to see. I want to know that my second half isn't burdening my children because I'm bored and lazy. I want to know that I've created something. I want to know that I'm using my brain, even if it doesn't lead to anything. I want to know I'm moving my body so that I can be strong, so I can take care of my grandkids and my great grandkids, and I can live a long life. Like, I'm making decisions now that I know I'm going to live my best fucking life. And let me tell you something, you can start anything. If I can take one picture in a mirror and start Instagram and just take a chance, you think I didn't look like a psycho when I was 47, standing in front of fucking school with 2 elementary school kids? Literally, I was like 47. Everyone's staring at me. Who's the asshole in front of school taking selfies with two, like, she's 50 with two small kids. Like, has she lost her mind? Like, you think I wasn't made fun of? You think I didn't hear all the gossip or all the little chit chat and guess what? I used it as fuel. I used it as fuel. Not as an insecurity, not as if I'm going to give up, I didn't give a flying fuck what they were saying. I was like, I'm going to prove every single one of you wrong. I was like, I'm going to live my best life. So while you're sitting in this little circle talking a bunch of shit about a bunch of women and you're probably just sitting there miserable as fuck, I'm actually laughing my way to the bank. I'm actually having the time of my life. I'm happily married, have incredible female friendships, and I actually look in the mirror and feel proud. So laugh away. And I want to remind you, ladies, it's coming for you. So you can keep sitting on the sidelines and pretending like it's not coming or not preparing or not realizing life gets really boring when you have nothing to do. When you don't have purpose and you don't have like contentment, life can get very boring and boredom can lead to jealousy and insecurity. And guess what that leads to? Unhappiness. And guess what? We're bringing happy back, so it doesn't work. Okay? So I just want to remind you every second that I can, life isn't over. Like your life isn't over till you take that last breath. Okay? You look at somebody like Iris Appetite, you know what I'm saying? You're looking at these icons, these legends. I can't even tell you how many TikToks and videos I get now of 90-year-olds doing pull-ups where I now am like, oh my God, I need to run a marathon. Like what? So, I mean, when you're starting to see 90-year-olds, 80-year-olds running marathons and doing pull-ups and doing gymnastics, you kind of realize we have all been complete assholes. That's the truth. Because yes, we can. And we're lazy. And we don't want to make the effort. And I think sometimes our partners, because when we start making the effort and we start living our best life, it makes people really uncomfortable. Because why? When you start setting boundaries and asking for help after you've been doing it all, guess what happens? People don't like that. People don't like finding out that they can't take advantage of you anymore. People do not like finding out, people don't like hearing no. And when you're a yeser and all of a sudden it's a no, it ruffles people's feathers. And let me tell you something, that could be a husband, that could be a best friend, that could be a coworker, like that could be your sister, that could be family. When all of a sudden you're the yes man and all of a sudden you're like, no, sorry, I'm going to take care of me now. Now it's me time. And you're going to do this and you're going to have to, and all of a sudden they can't take advantage of you. And all of a sudden they have to do the work. And all of a sudden they realize, oh shit, no one's doing it all. It scares the fuck out of people. But it's the greatest piece of advice I could give you is to start setting boundaries. Start setting boundaries, start asking for help, start talking to your partner about what it is that you really want and how you really feel, because the empty nest is coming. And when you see the fear in so many moms' faces of what the fuck do I do next? When your house is quiet, your husband's at work all day, and you realize you don't love gardening, you're like, oh, and you don't want to like, you know what I mean? You don't want to garden, or you don't want to like, what is it? Knit. You know, if you're not one of those people that like really like spending time alone or really like to, you know what I'm saying? It is something that you need to start thinking about. And I know it's hard. It was so scary for me at the beginning being like, God, what happens? And now I feel like I don't feel scared. Like I'm not scared for Sawyer to graduate. I'm not scared for Finn to graduate because I know I'm going to have a life of my own and I know I'm going to be okay. And I know I'm not going to be bored and I know I'm not depending on John. And I know like I look at him as my partner and let's go have fun and let's make plans and let's do this and let's talk business. But like I have my own friendships. I have my own hobbies. I enjoy my own company. Like I don't need people and things to make me happy. And I think that is just the greatest joy, especially about aging. And I think that's the greatest joy about, you know, getting older and that empty nest is that you get to find yourself again. So rather than looking at it as fear, look at it as the greatest adventure, right? Like you get to start over. You get a second shot at this. Like you created incredible human beings and now it's your turn. So rather than looking at it as like this scary thing that I have to reinvent and I have to change everything and I have to be a completely new person, say I hate when people do that. Like there's influencers or like even podcasts I've listened to where it's all about reinvention and changing everything. And what's so funny to me, I feel like that's so overwhelming. And I feel like that's so scary when you say that. And I feel like that creates so much insecurity and anxiety to feel like you have to change everything or you have to transform yourself. I'm literally just saying, I think you're in there. I think the best version of you is right in there. And I think she's just a little bogged down with responsibility, exhaustion, anxiety, and stress. She's in there. And I know she's in there. And I want to bring her back out because I know that when she's out, guess what? Not only are you happy, but it makes everybody else happy. And I can tell you when your kids are in college and they call you and you're like, hey babe, oh my God, I'm so busy. I'm going to golf. I'm going to do this. Or, I'm at work and I just killed it. Or I'm here, I'm traveling. They're going to be so fucking happy for you because I spent my entire life till this day, anxiety every time I called my mom. Pure anxiety because never knew what I was going to get on the other phone. I didn't know what mood she was going to be in because she wasn't happy. She had no purpose. She had nothing to do. She was bored and she had to find shit to fight about. She had to find things to be annoyed about. Or she had to find shit to do and like create problems and create things because it was like that was more exciting than her dead, boring life. And I hate to say that, that sounds awful, but it's the truth. And I think a lot of women aren't prepared. And I want to prepare you because, again, I'm very fortunate to have a husband that I love and that we have a lot of respect. It's been 18 years married. And to say that it doesn't get boring sometimes would be a lie. Like to say that it's always like, we're like passionate and slam. I'm like, no, I mean, come on. That's impossible, you guys. Not with life, not with what happens in the world and with kids and with family. It gets very hard. And I think if you can just find that way to figure out what works for you, what makes you feel your best, and then you start to realize that that second half is about rebuilding that best version of you and bringing her back out. And you're going to start smiling more. You're going to start looking better. You're going to start feeling better. You're going to get your zhuzh back. You're going to get the pep in your step back. And then all of a sudden you're going to be like feeling so good that you're like, you can never go back, right? Like right now, I could never go back to feeling how I was feeling. Like I could never go back to that crowd, could never go back to that school, could never go back to those conversations. I could never go back to just sitting on the couch. No, I am like fire is burning in me. And I want to remind you when you are constantly doing everything for everyone else, you are constantly putting oxygen out, right? So it's out. What happens when all of your oxygen goes out? You suffocate. Nothing left for you. You know what puts oxygen back in? Self-care. Time alone, time to regroup, food, water, sleep, gratitude, sunlight, nature. You got to replenish yourself. And I know for one thing, I know every single woman, I'm going to say this and I'm going to end with this. I honestly believe that every single woman has an incredible fire burning inside of you. There is no fucking way we could do everything that we do, manage everything that we do without having an incredible fire burning inside of us. And unfortunately, as we age, as we get older and the responsibilities of life and family and work get bigger and bigger, the fire starts to get put out because so much oxygen goes out that you can't possibly keep that flame going. You can't keep the fire going when you're constantly putting oxygen out. It actually puts your fire out. So that fire that burns inside of you that makes you a super interesting, incredible human being gets put out. And that's why you start to look dead inside. So I want to remind you that you taking care of yourself is not selfish. You got the second half of life to live. Your kids are going to graduate and you need to get your shit together. So start today, start now. Even if it's just thinking about it, even if it's just that first time you look in the mirror, ask yourself how you feel and what are you going to do when those incredible kids leave the house? Do you still like this person you're with? How do you make that better? Is there something that you've been trying to do that you want to start building that foundation? Start there. You just want to feel healthier and feel better? Start taking that lap around the block. Start getting that gratitude in. Start small, start simple so you don't give up. No fucking excuses. Okay? You want to live your best life? You want to live your best second half of life? You want your kids and your family to see you fucking happy? You want to look in the mirror and actually look happy and actually like what you see? Get the fuck up, Get dressed, bet on you. That is the only way. Put your oxygen mask on first, start taking care of yourself, and realize, start building that foundation now so that you're not scared, so that you are prepared. Knowledge is power. So when you start building it now, start setting up, start putting those steps into place so that when they do leave, it's your time to shine now. You let them shine, now it's your turn. And you got this, one day at a time. I am rooting for you, and I'm telling you right now, if I can, you can. I am nobody special. I just make a lot of effort. Okay? You got this. Remember, you figure out you only have one life when the second one starts. So get the fuck up today, get dressed, look in the mirror, and remind yourself how incredible you are. Okay? I love you guys. It's not over. You are just getting started. Rooting for you. Thank you for joining. I so appreciate it. Join me every Monday so we can keep taking deep dives into the reality of life. I love you all. Don't forget, when you look good, you feel good, you do good. So get up, get dressed, and let's do this. Love you all. Please like, review, subscribe, and I'm honored and grateful for all of your love and support. Thank you. Love you all. Mwah.